Good morning, everyone. It's Trader Rob. Today is Monday, August 3rd. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend and everybody's looking forward to some August trading here. July is finally in the books, and well, like I mentioned in my Sunday video from last night, July was kind of a flat month for me in general. Had a pretty strong week last week. It was green Monday through Friday, which was awesome. Ended up taking also a really nice trade on a scalp with my signal members on the NQ E-mini. Had about 7 points of risk on that trade for 30 points of profit. So I made about $600 cash on that one and on the fundeds, which was fantastic. And hopefully looking forward to keeping that momentum going here. First off, let's start off with our key levels for today on the NQ. And then we'll go over the bands. Prior day high, 28,725. Not putting as much weight on these levels here this morning. I don't put a lot of weight on these on Monday levels. Tuesday through Friday, much stronger in my opinion. Current open was at the 28,565. Prior day open is at the 28,316. Golden level 209, 28,209. We'll talk about this golden level here in a few minutes. Prior day low 28,079. Again, not putting extreme weight on these intraday levels as much as I would again on a Tuesday or Tuesday through Friday. Now, obviously, we've got a pretty big gap fill. Let's see if I can get rid of these. We've got the gap fill all the way. Really all the way down to here at the 28,286. So pretty big gap to the upside. We'll see if we fill it here at the New York Open. Most likely, from what price action is looking like, it looks like we will fill it. This is a good indication of actually this has got to go a little lower. This gap fill should be right there. That's your entire gap fill here. So looks like we will probably close that gap here this morning. All right, some key areas then for what are the trading setups? Well, we still have this unbalanced seller volume band that's sitting at the 28,986 to the 28,913. Have had this on my charts well since about the previous Friday, so about a good full week here, and we have not tapped into these bands here, but these are definitely bands that I am looking to trade if price action gets up to there. Pretty simple concept here. Most conservative approach again is just going to be stop loss sitting a few points above the band, risk 1 to 1.5 from the bottom of the band. It's going to be your most conservative play on here. Your more scalping, really super detailed scalp, very prop friendly, would be just taking a scalp off of the detailed band, which again, this stop loss then would only be sitting 3 or 4 points above this band. So you're looking at about 15 points or 16 points of stop here. And then on these, you can go 1 to 2 at a minimum. 1 to 2 risk to reward on a minimum. So that's what these two setups here would look like on their first band. And then on the secondary band that we've also have, which is, again, it's a developing weekly band. A lot of sellers sitting right here. Pretty simple. On this one, all you really need to do is you still have 2 approaches that you can take. One is a conservative approach, taking the entire band. And again, targeting a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward, which would be sitting down right around here. Okay, that would be your conservative trade right off the band. Your very prop friendly would be still at the bottom of the band, just a few points right above this band, sitting here at the 29.072. And on this trade, we would just be looking for a 1 to 2. Let's see if I can grab this guy. 1 to 2 would be sitting right around there. Okay. That would be your conservative approach on this, on these 2 bands. Again, these are the same bands we've been talking about here for about a week. And probably a good high probability that we do close the Sunday gap here. Morning, Bob. Golden level. I did recently open up an X account for Trader Rob. I have in general been very, very quiet on social media, minus obviously YouTube, which I stream every day. But I did end up opening up an X account based on my kids' recommendations on what they think is... and I'm also going to do Instagram eventually as well. But what's this golden level? Well, first off, what I'd like you guys to do is, if you guys can go ahead and follow me on my X, which there is the link right there on the screen. It's at Trader Rob Levels. So at Trader Rob Levels. And each morning, let's see if I can pull one up, an example of one here. Each morning, I will post my most priority key level that I have for the day. Okay, so like today, the NQ long at the 28,209. These are dissected from everything that I do my analysis on. Each day, I will have one level here, either on the NQ, the ES, or possibly gold, on where I think a scalping opportunity is definitely available. And this golden level is going to be pretty simple to trade. We're simply going to do a 1-to-1 risk to reward. So limit order right on the band. You're going to be doing a 1-to-1. So I'm sorry, we're going to be going to 60 ticks of stop, which is about 15 points. Let's see if I get that right there. And a 1-to-1. Super simple. Nothing complicated on here. Now, if you want to go bigger risk to reward, you obviously can. You can take this to 1 to 2, 1 to 1.5, whatever your risk tolerance looks like. But this will be a limit order that I place here, and I'll just let the market tap into it. Again, 15-point stop, 15-point take profit. And that will be that'll be a signal I give every single day on X. So if you can follow me on there, I would appreciate it. All right, so that was a golden level, I believe. Oh, let's get into where some buyers are finally sitting at. So we've got buyers sitting here at the 27,952 to the 946. Very small band, very, very tradable. Again, on these, you want to be at a 1 to 2. Very simple. Limit order at the top of your band. Let's bring this down to a few points. below the band, and a 1 to 2. Again, you can go more than 1 to 2 if you want, but at a minimum, we should be going 1 to 2 on these trades. So that is a setup here for a long. We finally get into some buying territory. And then the last band that I have for you on the NQ, this is again all buyers down here. This is a developing weekly band to 27,905 to the 27,867. Again, we'll just go over how to trade this. Pretty simple. Pop in your position tool, 3 or 4 points below the band, and on the weekly band, it's going to be a 1 to 1.5. Sitting right around there. That's what the conservative trade here would look like. If you want more of a scalper entry that is very prop friendly, put a limit order right at the smaller band at the 27,889. Stop loss goes a few points below the band. Risk to reward 1 to 2. There you go. That's where that's how this setup here would look like. So that's 4 trade ideas here, actually 5, including the golden level. We've got 5 trading ideas already here. These will all be set up with limit orders. Very, very simple, easy to trade. Nothing too complicated. And you guys will notice that your risk to reward here, especially on the 1.5s and to the 2s, they will show up in your P&L. I promise you, they will show up in your P&L very, very nicely. These are extremely high conviction trades. Very, very a lot of confidence in these types of trades here. So again, you've got 5 setups, including the golden level here for this morning. And again, you'll find the golden level each morning on my X account, which is at Trader Rob Levels. And someone can be my first follower. I just set up the well, I joined a long time ago, but actually first time I ever posted was yesterday. So someone be the first person to follow me. Would appreciate it. And then this will be available every single morning. It'll be either on the NQ, the ES, or the gold, whatever I think is the most highest conviction scalping opportunity. Again, very simple, 15-point stop, 15-point take profit, 1 to 1. Nothing complicated there. All right, so that's the NQ. Now let's switch over here to the ES for all of you ES traders out there. We'll first start off with some of our key levels. I don't think we got anything above. Don't. All right, so this is the current open at the 75.50. Again, not a lot of weight being put on these levels here on a Monday. We want to wait for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. These are a lot more tradable in my opinion. Prior day high, 75.41. I did have a level here. Forgot to put this one, but I believe that this is the prior day. This is the prior day high. This is the prior day high at the 75.03. Prior day open 74.78, which is another key level, and the prior day low at the 74.27. So I apologize, I forgot to. Let's just do that now, so I don't. You know what? Maybe there was not a level here. Yeah, no, there was no level there. Let's just delete that level. Sorry about that. All right, so we'll first start off with buyers down here. ES has got really 2 areas of unbalanced volume. And this is a big weekly band, guys. Extremely, extremely difficult for the ES to break through this band. Okay, this is this would take an absolutely massive effort to get through this band. And again, the only things that will truly get through here is going to be either scheduled or unscheduled headline news, or multiple retaps into this same band will eventually obviously fail, and we can break to the downside. Now, if you're saying, Rob, this is too big of a band for me to trade on the ES, that's just a little bit too much risk for me. No problem. Just go down to the daily bands, which are down here. These are about 4.5 points of risk. Okay, super easy to trade from here as well. So again, if you want to be very prop friendly, very cash account friendly, limit order at the top of your band. I gotta adjust these because again, these are set to where like the NQ is at. We'll just copy the next one so we don't have to worry about that anymore. All right, so stop would be about 1 point below that band. Okay, so maybe about 5 points of risk here in total. Risk to reward on these trades, you can go 1 to 1.5 on the ES. Okay, also coincides with the prior day open, so that's a great target for you right here to trade from. Very, very simple trade here on the ES. Again, taking a long at the 74.68, 75. Stop at the 74.63. And a take profit right at your prior day open, 74.78. Very, very simple. You also have, excuse me, you also have another band sitting below price action, below this band at the 74.53 to the 74.49. As we've discussed previously, when these bands are sitting at the bottom of a bigger weekly band, I don't like to trade these with a limit order. Okay, so I will not be placing a limit order here. I can tell you right now, there is an absolute shit ton of unbalanced volume in this area right here. Okay, so the way personally I like to trade these when the bands are sitting at the bottom part of the weekly band is not with a limit order, but what I'm looking for to honestly happen is I'm looking for a sweep of the low of the band with a continuation to the upside. I'm really looking for a sweep down here where all of this liquidity is sitting at, for then us to get a reaction back to the upside. So how do I trade that, Rob? Well, a few different ways. One, you can switch over to your 12 range footprint chart. And all we're looking for in that scenario would be a green footprint candle with negative delta on your negative total delta for that bar, which just means that there was a lot of selling pressure, a lot of stops being triggered, and the market was still able, that footprint candle, which is equivalent to 3 points on the ES because it's a 12 range, that footprint is still able to close green with a bunch of negative delta. That just means a really good amount of absorption there by buyers, trapped sellers, very good reversal indicator for you on your chart. If you could say, Rob, I don't have footprint charts, I apologize for that you don't have them. You should get them. But if not, then you're just looking for a pretty simple candle confirmation. You can drop down to the 1 minute. And really what you're looking for is you're looking for a sweeping pattern, okay? Long wick at the bottom that swept this volume down here. You might, depending on how the candles close, you might get a solid red candle. You might get an engulfing candle right here that engulfs this candle. That could be your entry confirmation. So a lot of different ways to skin the cat, but I would not be putting a resting limit order at the 74.53. Okay, that's not what I would be looking for. All right, so that's the first trading opportunity here on the ES. Well, not the first, but that's one of the two. And then the only other thing I see here, this is where sellers are going to be currently sitting at the 75.83 to the 75.99. Now, this is a new band. Gave you guys this band on... give you guys this band here on my Discord. So on my Discord every single morning, I place all of these bands, all the tradable levels. Let me fix the gap fill for the ES as well. So Discord's a great resource. It's completely free. Highly encourage you guys to join that. All right, so how would we be looking to trade this band sitting above here? Okay, well, one, this is a bigger band, so you're looking at about 17 points here, 17 points of risk if you want to trade this entire band, which you obviously can, because these bands are known to repel price action extremely well. And these would be sitting very similar to like the NQ plays. This might be a problem here. This band, this one might be a problem because we're sitting on, oh, got it. Perfect. All right, so stop loss. Let's see if I can. Let's see if we can get this adjusted here a little bit. On the ES, stop loss sitting a few points above the band, so probably about the 7600 or 7601. Take profit is going to be 1 to 1.5. And this is the simplest trading idea that you will have out of this band. Okay, very simple. Entry at the 75.83, stop loss at the 75, let's say 76.01. Take profit 1 to 1.5 risk to reward. Very simple way to trade it. And again, as I always like to give you, very prop friendly, very nice scalping opportunity right here. Yeah, you know what? Let me delete that. Let's just copy this guy. There we go. Pop them in right there. Risk to reward, probably the same. I would do this probably the same thing. Point right above the band, the entire band here. And on this trade, I would still be targeting a 1 to 1.5. Risk to reward on the ES. ES, I definitely like 1 to 1.5 on pretty much all of my trades. 1 to 2, more on the NQ. Okay, so this is your setup, what you'd be looking like for shorts. And these are two setups that you would be looking at for longs on the ES. And lastly, if we took a look at gold, we've got a few areas here. This is all seller controlled at the 4171.2 to the 4156.6. You've got buyers sitting down here on the on gold at the 4066.2 to the 4052.7. Okay, so these are the two bands that I would be looking for on the on gold. These are the dailies. Now again, I would always start on the weekly bands. So these are your bands from Sunday, from yesterday. Okay, these are your weekly bands. These are very, very difficult for the price action to get through. These are already established by a good amount of time, so there's just ripe, unbalanced volume there waiting for the pickings. So I would always start with the weekly bands, and then each day I would be adding whatever daily band I give you guys. So these daily bands, I would be adding these daily bands into the same chart on TradingView, NinjaTrader, Tradeovate, whatever it is that you're using, just so you can have a really nice roadmap. Rob, please explain unbalanced volume. Absolutely. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back and I'll give you guys a explanation here of what I consider to be unbalanced volume. All right, let's get into what I consider to be unbalanced volume. And you have to kind of take this into context right now. As I mentioned in my video from last night, that our prior week, so last week's price action was extremely balanced in general. Okay, for every single big pull move to the upside. Now this is the 15-minute. If you drop down to the 5 minutes, it's going to probably look a lot more pronounced. But in general, if you take a look at price action, we've had a lot of pullbacks on every single impulsive move to the upside. Now, when we have that pullback back to the downside, that's balancing unbalanced volume. Okay, now key areas where you can spot unbalanced volume right here. Okay, impulsive move, break of structure. Those are at the minimum. Those are the two things at the absolute minimum. And I teach this in my volume masterclass. That is absolutely every single band, signal, everything that I give you guys has at least, at a minimum, those two concepts. Okay, an impulsive move and a break of structure, which the break of structure happened right here. Okay, so this to me would be unbalanced. And then what's the third big key that most traders get wrong is, and for intraday, you probably want to be on a 5 minute or a 1 minute to spot, you know, intraday scalps. This is on the higher time frame. That's why these bands are, you know, usually a few hundred points away from each other. From this band to this band, you've got almost a 370 point buffer. Okay, but that's why these are super strong as well, because these have a lot more. This is a higher range. Consider higher time frame. I use the AVT strategy to find my bands and my levels. Not going to go into all of that right now. There's a lot of videos that I have on the AVT, but that's the exact way, and it finds the exact same thing that I'm talking about. Impulsive move, break of structure, and then what I am looking for as well, which is the third big crucial part that most traders get wrong. I am very, very, very detailed. And what I'm looking for is you want to avoid any wicks on the way up that wick down into that base of the area that you're finding that has those two conditions: impulsive move, break of structure. If you have both of those, awesome. The third thing you want to look for is, and you want to drop down to your lower time frame, down to a minute, 30 seconds, 5 minute, 2 minute. You want to drop down to the lower time frame and make sure that as price action had that impulsive move that broke structure, that there was no wicks in between that leg going up that comes back down and sucks out volume. Because what happens is when the first two things are initiated, meaning break of structure and impulsive move, if you notice that price action doesn't continue going to the upside, strong candles, all green going to the upside in a situation of a long, but you actually see wicks coming back down into that same area, and then you get another leg to the upside, this is already gone. This is the volume that's sitting here has already been sucked out. The move, the origination of the move down here was not strong enough to continue price action. So market had to come back down, balance out that volume, get enough energy, get more gas in the fuel tank for it to continue its next leg. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for pure impulsive moves that just keep going straight to the upside. Eventually it's going to have pullbacks. That's the market. But I'm really honing in on the areas that really fly without any type of wicks coming back down into that particular area. And you will really, if you start to trade like that, you will find these areas extremely well. Good example right here of unbalanced volume right there. Sorry, that was a terrible circle, but this is classic on what I would look for on unbalanced volume. Now, granted, this is old price action, so price action's already gone through all of this. That's why there's no band sitting up here. But I will guarantee you that if you look at, I don't know what day this is, Wednesday of last week, you're going to see a band sitting somewhere right around here, okay? Because this is a perfect example of exactly what I'm talking about. Impulsive move to the downside, break of structure, no wicks in this area. So price action has not revisited to it. So the next time you come back up to that area, you are going to then, the market's going to revisit the volume that it left unbalanced, untapped, and you will then get a nice reaction off of that level or off of that band as well. So that's what I consider to be unbalanced volume. That is the basis of my entire strategy, and it's proven to be extremely effective for me. So, and all of these areas, you know, will have the those exact same conditions on the daily. And then when you switch over to my weekly bands, which is the ones that I give on Sunday, these are just going to be higher time frame. They're bigger bands, and they're just bigger pieces of unbalanced volume. And then what I do for you guys every morning is I dissect. So if I go back to the NQ, what I do every morning, let's just get rid of these so it doesn't look so complicated here. They're actually very simple. Oh, we can leave that guy. What I do for you guys every morning is I dissect the weeklies. This is a big weekly. And then I also give you a daily. So I find within the weekly, I will find the base of the impulsive move to the downside, the break of structure, the unbalanced volume, no wicks back into this area. And then that's how I find and create these smaller bands within the weeklies, okay? And this is truly how I find my signals that I give to my signal group that's got over a 70% win rate with very, very tight stops. My average stop on my signal, on any signal that I provide, is about 8 points on average on the NQ. And guys, you understand that this is counter trend. So these are always going to be counter trend no matter what you want to say. These will be always counter trend, but if you look at the bigger time frame, a lot of these are not counter trend. Okay, they're still going to be going with the trend by the time we get back down here or up here. But the main thing that I want you guys to realize is that we're typically going like this to get to one of these bands. Okay, so we're typically in an uptrend to get to one of these bands that I find. And with an 8-point stop on the NQ is extremely tight, especially when you're looking for 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 points. I've had trades of 150 points off of just an 8-point stop. Okay, so it's extremely powerful. Now, will all of them hold up? No. You guys see it on live streams. You guys, my signal members see it. You know, we'll take a loss in a day. We might take 2 losses in a day. We might then hit that third trade that makes you green for the day. We might take 2 winners for the day and just be really nice in the green. There's no strategy that's going to be absolutely perfect, especially when you're looking for sniper entries like how I am. But again, if you're trading prop, and if you are trading prop, I would highly enjoy if you were to use code TraderRob, especially with Tradify, Lucid, and Apex. Those are the 3 firms that I have funded accounts with and that I trade with every day. Highly support them and encourage you guys using them. And then lastly, the last thing I'll leave you with is, again, as I mentioned earlier, I just started reposting to my X account, which is at TraderRobLevels on X. If you can go and follow me, I'd appreciate it. You could probably be my first follower. Maybe this is not even updated. Maybe I already have a follower. Pretty sure I probably will. But if you can, that'd be amazing. Each morning, I will give you my key level for the morning. Again, it'll be either on the NQ, the ES, or gold. This is a hand-picked level out of everything that I provide. that is going to be a scalping opportunity. It's literally a 1-to-1 risk to reward. On the NQ, it's always going to be 15-point take profit, 15-point stop loss. On the ES, it'll always be 5-point take profit, 5-point stop loss. So be very easy. If you follow me, you'll see this level every single morning, and the one that I will be mainly looking for. All right, guys, that's all I got for you for the pre-market show. I will continue trading on here with my signal service group on the live trading room. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, and I will post the results on these limit orders here in my Discord and most likely on my X account starting from today. Take care and happy trading, everyone.